Hello and welcome to Trading 5 Talents. In today's video, I want to go over a few iron fly variations that I'm testing right now on Option Alpha. So again, Option Alpha is an auto trading platform. I have other videos on this particular service, and there's also a link down in the description if you'd like to check it out. So the iron fly overview. So this is just the basics for an iron fly. And it's also referred to as an iron butterfly, and it's really like an iron condor, except for the short legs, so the short strikes are the same strike. So the short put, short call would be the same strike price. And an iron fly should not be confused with a long butterfly, or an iron butterfly should not be confused with a long butterfly. Sometimes, because they're very similar in name, an iron butterfly versus just a butterfly, they are actually different trade setups. So an iron fly is a put credit spread and a call credit spread, whereas a long butterfly or simply a butterfly is made up of all calls or all puts and is entered for a debit, whereas the iron fly or iron butterfly is entered for a credit. So the way that I'm setting it up, just as a brief reminder, is that the short strikes, the short call, short put, are at the money, which is about 50 delta. And the long options are 10 strikes further out of the money than the short strike. So this would make it a 10 strike wide iron fly. Collateral is about $1,000. What I'm doing is I'm entering every day 7 DTE, and I'm using SPY for all of my testing. And so I'm able to enter Monday through Friday now for the expiration the following Monday through Friday. I have been finding that at least in my earlier testing, that I've been able to enter for approximately $6 in credit. Depending on the volatility, it can go up to $7, $7.50 in credit. And then the max loss would be, $1,000 minus your credit. So if I entered for $600, the max loss would be $400. So here are the 4 variations that I am using. So the first is going to be the original one. And I originally called it the ATM 10-7 because I was using the same naming convention as the Iron Condor strategies. So ATM was the short strikes, 10 was the width of the iron fly, and the 7 was the DTE. Now I'm going to start referring to it as a 1530. And the reason is because when I set up the iron fly, all of my the width and the placement of the short strikes and the expirations are all going to be the same. So I need to differentiate these not based on those parameters, but on how I'm exiting. And so I'm going to refer to it as the 1530. This is my original one because I'm going to be exiting for a 15% profit, which is about $90, or I'm going to get stopped out for a 30% loss, which would be about $180 if we enter for $600 in credit. Okay, so the first one is the original 1530. The second one is simply the 3030, and you can probably guess this is simply exiting for 30% profit or getting stopped out for a 30% loss. So this is just a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. The third variation is a trailing stop variation. So I'm entering the iron fly just like the previous variations, except in this case, I'm going to start a trailing stop at 15% profit with a 5% trail. Okay, so the idea here is once I'm 15% profitable for my iron fly, then I'm going to have the bot put a trail 5% back. So that would be 10%. So if the iron fly starts losing money and goes down to only 10% profit, then it would exit. But if the iron fly continued to gain profit, and let's say it's now at 20% profit, then my stop loss gets moved up to 15%. If it moves up to 25% profit, then my stop loss gets moved up to 20% profit. So starting at 15%, I'm going to tell the bot to add a 5% trail, and it will trail up, but it will never go further down. So I'm trying to lock in the profit, also trying to get as much exposure to the upside as I possibly can. So that's the trailing stop. I'm also going to put in a stop loss for 30%. So I'm not going to lose any more on this variation than I would have lost in my previous 2 variations. So I'm going to go through the option alpha bots so I can show you how I set it up. But this is just a summary of these 4 variations. All right, finally the 4th one, and this came by way of a comment, and that was, what if you just let the iron flies expire? You know, whether it's a profit or a loss, just let it expire. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to just call it the free range iron fly. And I'm just going to close out at 3:45 p.m. on expiration day. I don't want to just let it expire because there would be an assignment risk. And the closest I can get to expiration using the bot would be at 3:45 p.m. So that's how I'm going to close it. Whatever profit or loss I have at 3:45, the bot will simply close that position. So let's take a look over at option alpha, and I'll show you how I set these up. So once again, the link, the affiliate link, is down in the description. If you want to check option alpha out, there's a 30-day free trial where you can set up a certain number of trading bots. It's a no-code platform, so it makes it really easy, and it's actually kind of a lot of fun to use to see how these bots can trade in a paper market, obviously, to start out with. And then you can transfer over into a live brokerage account. So right now, all of these are going to be trading in paper money. All right, so here we are in option alpha, and then this is my bot tab right here. And you can see I have these 3 bots right here. Now, I know there are 4 variations, and I can't put 4 variations in the current plan that I have. I can only have 3 in my bot library, but I'll show you how I'm tracking that 4th one. So these are all color coded as well. So I'm not sure if you noticed that in the slide presentation: gray, green, red, and there was also a gold one or a yellow one. So I'm trying to keep everything in order and as clear as possible. So here's my first one right now. So before I get into each one of these, you can notice the profit that I am making. This is all paper money. This is not real money. However, this includes all of the unrealized profit as well. So yes, I've only been trading the green one and the red one for maybe about a week and a half, and it's already surpassed what my original iron fly was doing. So if this trend continues, then obviously those are going to be great variations to this iron fly strategy. So I'm not going to get into the first one because I already made a separate video on that, and I'll make sure you guys have the link available so you can see how I made that first iron fly trading bot inside of option alpha. All right, the next one on the list was the 30-30 iron fly strategy, and I didn't make that one its own bot. Instead, what I did was I used the free range iron fly, and then I just put in tags to see when I would have reached that 30% profit or that 30% loss. So let's click on the free range iron fly and take a look at how this is set up. So if I go into settings, this is where I'm checking right here. I'm using this monitor to check for the 30% profit, 30% loss. And so I click on this, and you can see this is the logic tree for the 30-30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this and show you how I made it. So what I want to do is I want to run a position loop, which means for every position type called an iron butterfly, it's going to repeat these actions. Right? So I make that position loop, and then once it finds an iron butterfly position within this bot, it's going to look at this recipe. And this recipe says the position premium decreased by 30% since opened, and it doesn't have one of these tags, 30 target reached. So this would be true if we were in the 30% profit range. Right? So if it decreased by 30%, we achieved our 30% target. Now, once it does fulfill that criteria, it's decreased by 30%. You can see down here on the yes path, it's going to tag the position, and it's going to tag it as 30 target reached. And you can change the tags. You can write in whatever you want. You can't use special characters. That's why there's no % right here, but it says 30 target reached. And once it tags that, I'm going to send myself a notification on my homepage that it says 30% target reached. That way I can see if you gain 30% on this. All right. So after it ends that, it's going to repeat. And if it's decreased by 30%, but it already has the tag, it's not going to keep on sending me notifications. That's why both of these conditions have to be met. Decrease by 30% and it doesn't have this tag. Otherwise, every 15 minutes you'd get the same notification that your 30% target was reached. So what if the 30% target hasn't been reached? It's going to go down the no path and it's going to ask this: if the position premium has increased by 30%. That is, we're losing on this position because remember, these are short premium positions, the iron flies are. So if it's increased by 30%, that means you're losing 30%. If it does increase by 30%, you're going to tag the position, and you can see that it's tagged as stopped out, and then it's going to send me a notification that says stopped out at a 30% loss. All right, so within the free range bot, I am also monitoring the 30-30 iron fly variation. All right, so that's how I'm monitoring that. So since we're here, let's take a look at the free range iron fly exit itself. And so that's this monitor right here. Now with these monitors, these will happen, or these will occur every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, it's going to run through both of these. And if conditions are met, if actions are triggered, then of course it will do that automatically. If not, it just waits for the next 15-minute interval. All right, so the other monitor I have, besides checking for the 1-to-1 exit or the 30-30 exit, is exiting before expiration. So this is the free range iron fly action set right here. So I click on this and I'm going to repeat. Let me zoom in so you can see. I have to open each one up. So it's going to repeat for each iron butterfly position. And it's going to ask this question: if the position expires in exactly 0 days, that is, today is the day of expiration. If it's not, it's just going to end, wait for the next 15-minute interval, and check again. And so it's going to do this loop until it finds that this is yes, that is, it is the day of expiration. If it is, and the current market time is after 3:30 p.m., then it's going to close the position. Now, originally I had it as 3:45 p.m., and if it answers, if the current market time is after 3:45 p.m., but then the next time it would actually close the position, then it would close it at 4 p.m., and that would be really close to expiration. So I wanted to make sure that I'm closing it before 4 p.m. So that's why I set it up this way. There might be a better way to set it up. I'm just not sure. So that's how I'm setting it up here, and all of my positions would close at 3:45 p.m. on the day of expiration. So that's what I'm doing with the free range iron fly. All right. So the gray one is the original, the 1530. We just looked at the 3030 within the free range iron fly. We just looked at the free range iron fly. So now let's look at the trailing stop iron fly variation setup. I click on this. Entry scanner is going to be the same. The trailing stop, this monitor, this is what's going to be different. All right, so let's click on the trailing stop, and here we have our logic tree. So again, we have a loop that is going to repeat for each iron butterfly position, and then it's going to ask this question. So let's click on this. And you can see right here, the position trails a start trailing stop target by trailing stop percent. So what does all that mean? Well, if we look at this right here, position, so you're on this parameter right now and it's asking you to select something, and it's asking for an input. And so it's going to take whatever I put in this input. And the input is any position in this bot, right? So if we go next, trails a start trailing stop, excuse me. This start trailing stop is also an input, and you can tell because it's got this sort of bullet list right here, target by a trailing stop percent, and that is this input as well. So what are these inputs? So let me X out of this and I'll show you. So come over here to my input panel, click on edit inputs. My start trailing stop input is here. I'm going to click on this. I've labeled it start trailing stop, and the default value is 15. When the position reaches a 15% profit, or when it's profitable by 15%, then it's going to start the trailing stop. And it's going to, so positions trails a start trailing stop. That start trailing stop is this input, 15. It's going to trail that 15% target by this input value right here, trailing stop percent. What is that trailing stop percent? So I click on my inputs, look at the trailing stop percent, and you can see it's 5%. So it's going to start a trailing stop when the position is profitable by 15%, and it's going to trail the current profit by 5%. So if it drops to that level, it's going to close the position. It's going to tag the position first, and then it's going to close it. So hopefully the idea is that as the iron fly gets more and more profitable, I simply move my stop 5% underneath that position's high percentage. And if it falls back down, then I'm going to get stopped out there, close that position, and ideally it's going to be more than 15%, right? So if it's not, okay, so if the position never gets to that 15% mark, and it starts going the opposite way and I start losing money on the position, it's going to come down to this no path, and the position premium has increased. So now we're losing money by stop loss since it was opened. What is our stop loss? Well, over in our inputs, our stop loss is 30%. So we're going to get out at a 30% loss. And I'm going to tag that position that says stopped out, and then it's going to close that position. All right. So that's the idea for this trailing stop iron fly. It's either going to get stopped out at a 30% loss, or it's going to hopefully increase in profit, and I'm going to have a 5% trailing stop loss added to that position once it reaches 15% profitability. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to also go over all of these results after I go through 10 trades with each of these bots. And as of right now, I think I'm in like 5-6 trades in, completed trades. So again, all of these profits right here in my paper account show positions that are still open as of right now are doing really, really well. So once everything closes, I'm going to come back and give you all of those results. So you want to make sure that you click on subscribe so you can be notified when those results come out. Also, don't forget to take a look at option alpha. And if it's something that interests you and you want to start trading options and stocks with a trading bot, and you don't have to know any code to make these bots, then go ahead and click on the link down below and start your free trial. So if you have any questions, please leave a question down below and I'll try to answer it as quickly as possible. Until next time, trade wisely and take care.